I'm Alyssa.
I'm Nopsa.
And I'm Jessica.
And today we're going to be talking about phylogenetic trees
and the three domains.
Phylogenetic trees are the grouping of organisms according to the common properties and usually with similar ancestors. Information that is used to determine phylogenetic relationships in higher classified organisms comes from fossils. But sometimes, microorganisms are not ready to be fossilized. For example, cyanobacteria, like fossils, can be found over 3.5 billion years old, also known as the oldest fossil found in rocks. Fossils are extremely useful, but fossil evidence sometimes isn't available for most prokaryotes, so their phylogeny must be based on other evidence. In 1995, an American microbiologist, Raul Cano, reported growing Bacillus sphaerosus and other undefined microorganisms that survived embedded in fossilized plant resin for millions of years. This was used for more information about the evolution of microorganisms. Genomes can be used to group organisms into taxa and provide a timeline for the emergence of taxa. This is used as a molecular clock, also known as evolution, based on the nucleotide sequence in the genome organism. Prokaryotic relationships are determined by rRNA sequencing and DNA hybridization of selected orders and families of eukaryotes agreeing with fossil records.
Three domains: bacteria, archaea, and eukarya. Bacteria. In bacteria, we have mitochondria, a membrane bound cell organelle that generate most of the chemical energy needed to power the cells by chemical reaction. After mitochondria, we have cyanobacteria, a phylum bacteria that obtains the energy through photosynthesis. After cyanobacteria, we have chloroplast, an organelle within the cells of plants and certain algae that is the site of photosynthesis. After chloroplast, we have proteobacteria, a major group phylum of bacteria that contains all gram-negative bacteria. Then we have gram-positive bacteria, a bacteria with thick cell walls. And lastly, we have Thermatoga, a group of thermophilic and hyperthermophilic bacteria that can ferment a wide range of carbohydrates and produce hydrogen gas, one of the major fine products. After bacteria, we have archaea. Within archaea, there's a methanogens, an archaeobacteria that produce methane as a metabolic byproduct. One of the probilla is luminant, and after lumina, we have a methanogens. After methanogens, they form an atmosphere called methane SH4. After methanogens, there's an extreme halophase made, which is an organism whose growth is dependent on large amounts, generally more than 10% in solution of salt, sodium chloride, which is NCl. The picture shows how organisms are formed, and how the solution is created. And lastly, we have hypothermophiles, microorganisms that opportunistically grow at temperatures above 80 degrees, said by an article in 2013 by Cito, or that they can grow at a temperature above 90 degrees, said by Adams and Kelly in 1998.
Last, we have domain eukarya, which is about animals, plants, and fungi. There are 11 eukaryotes that we'll be talking about, which are fungi, amoebae, salimodes, plants, green algae, giardia, euglenozoa, diatoms, dinoflagellates, ciliates, and animals. The reason fungi are eukaryotic is because it is closely related to animals. It is a multicellular organism formed with the help of eukaryotic cells, and they break down nutrients so other organisms can use them. The reason amoebae are eukaryotic is because it has a complex structure It is a single-celled eukaryotic microorganism, and they have a well-defined nucleus. The reason slime molds are eukaryotic is because they have a membrane-bound organelles, they have true nuclei, and they have a plasma membrane. The reason plants are eukaryotic is because they have a nucleus and they have membrane-bound organelles. The reason algae is eukaryotic is because they have double membrane-bound plastids and they have a nucleus. The reason Giardia is eukaryotic is because they have a nucleus and they have a flagellated unicellular eukaryotic microorganism. The reason Euglenozoa is eukaryotic is they are a single-celled flagellated organism and they have membrane-bound organelles. The reason diatoms are eukaryotic is because they are organisms with a nuclear envelope-bound cell nucleus. They can make their own food and the number of cells in their body. The reason dinoflagellates are eukaryotic is they can produce oxygen, contain a lot of DNA, and they have a large nucleus. The reason cellulates are eukaryotic is they are single-celled eukaryotes and they harbor two kinds of nuclei. And lastly, the reason animals are eukaryotic is because they are the largest division of the eukaryotic domain. They have a nucleus and they are complex organelles.
Phylogenetic trees in the three domains important. Phylogenetic trees in the three domains are used for everyday information while organizing tools and knowledge for biological diversity. Both provide an accurate description of similarities and differences on certain levels of every living organism.